Modern civilization. These figures represent the gradual inversion of the generational pyramid. Since the Industrial Revolution, and especially after World War II, we have entered a period in human history that is unlike any other. This is the modern civilization we live in today, and it is most likely that everything will collapse sooner or later. In the first pyramid, we can find the generation that suffered from the post-war era, but also had countless opportunities in rebuilding a new world. Then came the famous baby boomers, one of the largest generations who have shaped the world beneath their feet. Finally, we also find Generation X. All of these generations lived after the Great War, but they also lived through the best periods of economic and social growth. It could be said that this was the golden age of modern civilization. Perhaps Generation X didn't experience it at the same level as the previous generations, but they still can't complain. When older generations have a longer life expectancy, and when birth rates keep dropping decade after decade, the pyramid stops being a pyramid and becomes something more akin to a square or rectangle where there are as many elderly as there are young people. This is when the now famous millennials are born. Then comes Generation Z, many of whom are already adults, and finally Generation Alpha, whose last members were born last year. All of these generations grew up discovering new technologies, the internet, smartphones, video games, social media, and many unconventional ways to make a living. But they have also seen how, little by little, the opportunities of the past began disappearing. The economy worsened and never fully recovered. Everything became more expensive, and how the future became increasingly uncertain. And so we reach the end, the present and future that await many generations. Starting with the new beta generation, those born in 2025 and beyond, a generation that will grow up surrounded by artificial intelligence everywhere. As they grow up, and following the Greek alphabet, the next generation, Gamma, will arrive. This generation will be even smaller than the previous one, so the square will turn into an inverted pyramid. Finally, before the great collapse of civilization, the mini or minimal generation will come. They will be so few in comparison to previous generations that their defining trait will be precisely that. By this point, the future will be very dark. Everything will begin to collapse little by little, and then things will speed up even more. Unless robotics can help mitigate the declining birth rates, or people start having more children again, this is inevitable. But it will not be the end of the planet, nor will it be the end of humanity. It will simply mark the end of one part of our history, where we failed to find a balance between ourselves and our beautiful planet, where we sought unsustainable growth instead of a prosperous and lasting future. Perhaps the future generations that come after the collapse will slowly rebuild a new world and learn from our mistakes, or perhaps everything will repeat itself, as it has always happened throughout the millennia. Either way, we won't be here to see it.